The gunshot echoed through the rain-soaked alley, and Amara's scream died in her throat as Jinwoo shoved her behind a dumpster, his body covering hers. The metallic tang of fear mixed with his familiar cologne, sandalwood and something darker, dangerous. 3 years? It had been 3 years since he'd disappeared without a word. And now he was here, bleeding from his shoulder. His eyes still holding that same intensity that had once made her believe in forever. "Stay down," he hissed, his Korean accent thicker than she remembered, roughened by whatever hell he'd been living in since he'd walked away from her life. But that was now. The beginning was different. The beginning was heartbreak. 3 years ago, Amara had stood in the rain outside their apartment, mascara running down her brown cheeks, clutching a letter that said nothing and everything at once. "I have to go. Don't look for me. I'm sorry." 10 words. That's all he'd left her after 2 years of whispered promises and stolen kisses, after late nights when he'd traced the curves of her face and called her his destiny. She'd loved him with everything she had. This quiet Korean man who'd stumbled into her art gallery one afternoon and never really left. Jinwoo had been different. Reserved where other men were loud. Thoughtful where others were careless. He'd seen her, really seen her, in a way that made her feel like the most important person in any room. The rain had soaked through her jacket that night as she'd screamed at the empty street, her voice hoarse and broken. "Why? Why would you do this to me?" But the city had no answers, and Jinwoo was gone. Now, 3 years later, Amara was someone else entirely. She'd rebuilt herself piece by careful piece, turning her pain into power. Her art gallery had expanded, her reputation growing among Philadelphia's cultural elite. She'd cut her natural hair into a short, confident style that made her feel fierce. She'd dated, nothing serious, nothing that touched the scarred places Jinwoo had left behind. But she'd tried. Her best friend Maya constantly reminded her that she was thriving, that she'd survived worse than a bad breakup. "You're glowing, girl," Maya had said just last week over brunch. "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." But Amara knew the truth. Late at night, when the gallery was closed and her apartment was too quiet, she still thought about him. She still wondered why. She'd kept one photograph hidden in her nightstand. The two of them at Chinatown's Lantern Festival, his arm around her waist, both of them laughing at something she could no longer remember. Sometimes she took it out and studied his face, looking for clues she'd missed, signs of the abandonment to come. The notification came on a Tuesday afternoon while she was hanging a new exhibition. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number. "He's back in the city. Thought you should know." Her hands had gone cold. She'd deleted the message immediately. Told herself it meant nothing. Philadelphia was a big city. Even if Jinwoo had returned, what were the chances they'd cross paths? She'd moved on. She was fine. She didn't need closure. But the universe had other plans. Friday night, Amara had agreed to meet Maya at a new Korean fusion restaurant in Old City. The irony wasn't lost on her, but she'd refused to let her past dictate her present. She wore a burgundy dress that hugged her curves, heels that made her legs look endless, and the confidence of a woman who'd survived heartbreak and come out stronger. The restaurant was crowded, filled with the chatter of happy diners and the sizzle of galbi on tabletop grills. She saw him before he saw her. Time stopped. The noise faded. Her heart, that traitorous organ, slammed against her ribs like it was trying to escape her chest. Jinwoo stood near the bar, talking to someone she didn't recognize, and he was different. His frame had filled out with muscle, his jaw sharper, his presence commanding in a way that made people unconsciously step aside. He wore an expensive blue suit that screamed money and danger, and when he laughed at something his companion said, it didn't reach his eyes. Those eyes, dark and haunted, scanned the room with the practiced alertness of someone always watching for threats. Then his gaze landed on her, and the world tilted. Recognition flashed across his face, followed by something that looked like pain, then quickly shuddered behind a mask of careful neutrality. But she'd seen it. She'd seen the crack in his armor, and it ignited a fury in her chest that 3 years of healing couldn't contain. "Amara?" Maya grabbed her arm. "What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." "I need air," Amara managed, turning toward the exit, her legs unsteady. She'd made it halfway to the door when a hand caught her wrist. Gentle but firm, sending electricity straight to her core. She didn't need to turn around to know it was him. "Amara, wait. Please." His voice. God, his voice still did things to her that she hated herself for feeling. She yanked her hand away and spun to face him, her eyes burning. "Don't touch me." Jinwoo stepped back immediately, his hands raised in surrender, but his eyes never left her face. Up close, she could see the changes. A scar above his left eyebrow. Shadows under his eyes that spoke of sleepless nights. A hardness that hadn't been there before. He looked like a man who'd seen violence and survived it. "I know you don't want to talk to me," he said quietly, aware of the curious eyes turning their way. "But I need to explain." "Explain?" Her laugh was sharp, cutting. "You want to explain why you destroyed me? Why you left me standing in the rain like I was nothing? 3 years, Jinwoo. 3 years of silence. And now you want to talk?" His jaw clenched, a muscle ticking in his cheek. "Not here. Please, give me 10 minutes. That's all I'm asking." "You don't get to ask me for anything," she said. But even as the words left her mouth, she knew she'd give in. She needed to know. The not knowing had been eating at her for 3 years, and here he was, offering answers she'd stopped believing she'd ever get. They ended up in a small park 2 blocks away, the city lights casting everything in amber and shadow. Amara wrapped her arms around herself, suddenly cold despite the mild September evening. Jinwoo stood a careful distance away, his hands in his pockets, looking at her like she might disappear if he blinked. "Talk," she commanded, her voice steadier than she felt. He took a breath, his shoulders rising and falling. "My family is connected to the Korean mob. I was born into it, and I spent most of my life trying to escape it. When I met you, I thought I had. I thought I could have a normal life, love someone without dragging them into that darkness." Amara's mind reeled. Mob. Mafia. The word felt foreign and impossible attached to the man who'd once spent an entire Sunday helping her grandmother fix her kitchen sink, who'd been so gentle, so kind. "I don't understand. My father was a high-ranking member of a syndicate that operates on the East Coast. When he died, they wanted me to take his place. I refused. I'd been clean for 2 years when I met you. I was working legitimate jobs, staying away from that life. But they don't let you go that easily." His voice cracked. "They threatened you, Amara. They sent me photos of you at the gallery, at your apartment, at your grandmother's house. They told me if I didn't come back, if I didn't take my father's position, they'd hurt you to force my hand." The ground felt unsteady beneath her feet. "So you left. I left to protect you? I made a deal. I'd return to the organization if they guaranteed your safety, if they erased any record of you from their files. I had to make them believe you meant nothing to me, that you were just another girl I'd moved on from. If they'd known how much I loved you." He stopped, his voice thick with emotion. "They would have used you to control me forever. Or worse." Tears burned Amara's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. "You didn't think I deserved to know? To choose for myself? I was 25 and terrified, he said, taking a step closer. I'd seen what they did to people, Amara. I'd seen bodies, families destroyed. I couldn't risk you. I couldn't risk losing you to violence, so I lost you to distance instead, and I've regretted it every single day for 3 years. Why are you back now? The question came out as a whisper. His expression darkened. Because the deal is falling apart. There's been a split in the organization. A younger faction challenging the old guard. It's gotten messy, dangerous. I heard rumors that they were looking into my past again, into people I cared about before I rejoined. Your name came up. I came back to make sure you're protected, to make sure history doesn't repeat itself. I don't need your protection, Amara said, even as fear coiled in her stomach. I've been fine without you. I know you have. You're stronger than I ever was. His eyes held hers, and in them she saw regret, pain, and something that looked dangerously like hope. But fine isn't safe. There are people who would hurt you just to get to me, and I can't. I won't let that happen. This is insane, she breathed, running a hand over her short hair. This sounds like something out of a movie, not real life. Not my life. I know. God, Amara, I know. If I could go back and do things differently. But you can't. She cut him off. You can't undo 3 years of pain. You can't undo the nights I cried myself to sleep wondering what I'd done wrong. Wondering why I wasn't enough for you to stay. You were always enough, he said fiercely, closing the distance between them. You were everything. That was the problem. You were everything, and I couldn't let them take that away from me by using you. I'd rather live without you and know you're safe than keep you close and watch them destroy you. She wanted to hate him. She'd spent 3 years cultivating that hate, nursing it like a precious flame. But standing here, seeing the anguish in his eyes, hearing the truth she'd never imagined, the hate wavered. In its place rushed a complicated tangle of emotions. Anger, betrayal, understanding, and beneath it all, a love that had never really died, just gone dormant. I don't know if I can forgive you, she said honestly. I don't expect you to. I just need you to let me keep you safe until this is over. And then what? You disappear again? The question hung between them, heavy with possibility and pain. Before Jinwoo could answer, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his entire body went rigid. What? What is it? We need to go, now. He grabbed her hand, pulling her toward the street. Jinwoo, what? They know we met. They're watching. Move. The next minutes were a blur of adrenaline and fear. Jinwoo pulled her through alleys she didn't know existed, his hand never leaving hers, his body always positioned between her and potential threats. She heard shouts behind them, footsteps echoing off brick walls. Her heels clicked frantically against pavement until she kicked them off, running barefoot, her heart hammering. They burst into a parking garage, and Jinwoo practically threw her into a black SUV, peeling out before she'd even buckled her seatbelt. In the rearview mirror, she saw 2 men emerge from the stairwell, their faces twisted with anger. Oh my God! Amara gasped, her whole body shaking. This is really happening! This is real! I'm sorry, Jinwoo said, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. I'm so sorry I brought this back into your life. Where are we going? Safe house. Somewhere they can't find us while I figure out how to end this. End this how? His jaw set in a grim line. However, I have to. Safe house turned out to be a modest apartment in a neighborhood she didn't recognize. Jinwoo checked every window, every lock, his movements efficient and practiced. Watching him, Amara saw clearly the man he'd become. Dangerous, capable, haunted. This wasn't the gentle artist she'd fallen in love with. This was someone who'd lived in shadows and violence, and it terrified her how attractive she still found him. How much she wanted to close the distance between them and feel his arms around her one more time. You should try to sleep, he said, not looking at her. I'll keep watch. I can't sleep. Are you kidding? She sank onto the couch, her bare feet tucked under her, her mind spinning. My life was normal yesterday. I was hanging art and planning exhibitions and worrying about quarterly taxes. Now I'm in a safe house because Korean mobsters are after me. How is this my life? Jinwoo sat across from her, elbows on his knees, his head hanging low. I never wanted this for you. I'd take it all back if I could. I'd stay away forever if it meant you could go back to your normal life. But I can't, can I? Now that they know about me again, that's it. I'm a target forever. His silence was answer enough. Amara felt tears finally spill over, hot and angry and scared. I hate you, she whispered. I hate that you came back. I hate that you never really left my heart. I hate that even now, even terrified, part of me is happy to see you again. What does that say about me? In 2 strides, Jinwoo was beside her, kneeling in front of the couch, his hands hovering near her face, but not touching. It says, you have the biggest heart of anyone I've ever known. It says you're capable of forgiveness I don't deserve. It says you're the best person I've ever met, and I'm the worst thing that ever happened to you. You weren't, she said through tears, finally letting him cup her face, his thumbs wiping away tears. For 2 years, you were the best thing. You made me feel seen and valued and loved. That's what makes this hurt so much. I know what we could have been. We can still, can we? She pulled back, searching his eyes. Can we really? Or is this just borrowed time before you disappear again? Or end up dead in some gang war? I'm going to fix this. I'm going to find a way out, a way to keep you safe permanently. I promise you, Amara. I promise. Don't make promises you can't keep. Then I promise you this. I will die before I let them hurt you. That's a promise I can keep. The words should have been romantic, but they just made her cry harder because she believed him. She believed he would die for her, and that wasn't what she wanted. She wanted him alive. She wanted him free. She wanted what they'd had before the world got complicated and dangerous. She didn't remember falling asleep, but she woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows and Jinwoo sitting in a chair across the room, watching her with an expression so tender it made her chest ache. For a moment, she let herself imagine this was normal, waking up with him nearby, safe and together. Then her phone rang, shattering the illusion. Maya's name flashed on the screen. I have to answer or she'll call the police, Amara said, and Jinwoo nodded. Amara! Oh, thank God! Where are you? You disappeared last night and I've been losing my mind. I'm okay. I'm safe. Something came up. I'm sorry I worried you. Something came up. Girl, you vanished with some man and... Maya paused. Wait, was that him? Was that the ex? Yes. And it's complicated. Really, really complicated. But I'm safe, Maya. I promise. I just need a few days to figure some things out. After she hung up, Jinwoo's phone buzzed. He read the message, and his expression turned to stone. What now? They took someone. One of my former associates who helped me leave 3 years ago. They're using him as bait. Bait for what? For me. They want to meet. They want to negotiate. It's a trap. I know, but if I don't go, they'll kill him. And they'll keep coming after anyone connected to me, including you. Amara stood, her mind racing. Then we go together. Absolutely not. Listen to me. She interrupted, her voice firm. You're not doing this alone. For 3 years, I had no choice, no agency. You made decisions for me. Not this time. If my life is on the line, I get a say in how we handle it. Amara, I'm serious, Jinwoo. You want to protect me? Then let me be part of the solution. 2 heads are better than 1, right? And I'm good at reading people. It's how I run a successful gallery. Maybe I can help. He looked like he wanted to argue, but something in her expression stopped him. Finally, he nodded. Together then. But you do exactly as I say when we get there. Deal? Deal. The meeting was set for an abandoned warehouse by the river. Because of course it was, Amara thought with slightly hysterical humor. Every movie cliché was coming true. As they drove, Jinwoo explained his plan, contingencies, escape routes. She listened carefully, her fear transforming into steely determination. She'd survived 3 years without him. She'd survive this too. The warehouse was exactly as intimidating as she'd imagined. 3 men stood in the center of the space, and she recognized the type immediately. Dangerous men, comfortable with violence. The associate Jinwoo had mentioned was bound to a chair, bruised but alive. Jinwoo, the man in the center said in Korean, then switched to English, his eyes sliding to Amara. And you brought the girl. How sentimental. Let him go. Jinwoo said evenly. This is between us. Is it? You broke our agreement. You left your post, started making plans to truly leave the organization. That's not how this works. I've given you 3 years. I've done everything you asked. Not everything. You still have attachments. The man gestured to Amara. Liabilities. She's not part of this. She became part of this the moment you fell in love with her. The man smiled, cold and calculating. Here's my offer. You come back, fully committed, no more plans of leaving, and we'll forget about her. Maybe we'll even let your friend here live. And if I refuse? Then everyone you care about dies, starting with her. Amara felt ice flood her veins, but she forced herself to stay calm, to observe. She noticed the way one of the other men kept glancing at his phone, distracted. Noticed the single exit behind them wasn't guarded. Noticed Jinwoo's hand moving slowly toward his back, where she knew he kept a gun. Everything happened at once. Jinwoo moved, pulling his weapon as he shoved Amara behind a concrete pillar. Gunfire erupted, deafening in the enclosed space. She heard shouting, struggled to process the chaos. Then Jinwoo was there, cutting his associates' bonds, yelling at them both to run. They burst into sunlight, into a world that suddenly felt both impossibly precious and terrifyingly fragile. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had called them. Maybe Jinwoo, maybe Chance. The 3 of them didn't stop running until they were blocks away, until Jinwoo pulled them into a subway station and they lost themselves in the crowd. Later, in a different safe location with police protection, and Jinwoo giving a statement that would hopefully dismantle the organization for good, Amara sat with her hands wrapped around a cup of coffee that had long gone cold. The reality of what she'd survived was starting to hit her, making her hands shake, her breath come short. Jinwoo sat beside her, careful not to touch her without permission, but close enough that she could feel his warmth. You were incredibly brave today. I was terrified. Brave and terrified aren't mutually exclusive. He hesitated. The detective says they have enough to make arrests, to take down the major players. It's going to take time, but I might actually be free. We might actually be free. We, she repeated softly. Is there still a we? I hope so. I know I have no right to hope, but I do. I love you, Amara. I never stopped. I know trust is earned and I've destroyed yours, but if you'll give me the chance, if you'll give us the chance, I'll spend the rest of my life proving I'm worth it. She turned to look at him, really look at him, seeing both the boy she'd loved and the man he'd become. The future was uncertain, complicated, and probably full of challenges she couldn't yet imagine. But looking into his eyes, she saw something that had been missing for 3 years. Possibility. I don't forgive you yet, she said quietly. I don't know if I'm ready to trust you again, but I'm willing to try. I'm willing to see if we can rebuild what we had, or maybe build something new, something stronger. The smile that broke across his face was like sunrise after a long night. That's all I'm asking. A chance. time. "Then you've got it," she said, and when he reached for her hand, she let him take it, their fingers intertwining like they'd never really let go. Outside, the city continued its rhythm, indifferent to their drama. But in that moment, Amara felt something shift inside her. Not closure exactly, but an opening. A new chapter beginning. Whatever came next, they'd face it together. And that finally felt like enough. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to drop your thoughts on the comment section below and like it. And make sure to subscribe to our channel for more stories like this. See you in the next video. Bye.